Someone attacked American 35th President John F. Kennedy while he was driving through downtown Dallas in his highly secured motorcade. At that time, Secret Service agents and an entire police motorcade were present with him. Furthermore, the FBI had been monitoring this entire route for several days. Despite these precautions, on November 22, 1963, he was attacked near Dealey Plaza and killed on the spot. Within a few minutes of the attack, the CIA, FBI, Secret Service, and police caused a commotion. But despite their significant efforts, they could not bring anyone else within the scope of the law except for a shooter named Lee Oswald, or perhaps they chose not to involve others at all. Was this a carefully planned conspiracy? Or did a single shooter manage to evade the world's top secret agencies and shoot the most famous president from just a few meters away? The official story was difficult for anyone to accept. There was a direct and quick route from the airport to the banquet where the president had to go. So why was his motorcade directed through the middle of the city? And who planned this route? The person who shot the president? Was he acting on impulse, or was it part of a plan? The truth is, just a month before the incident, he secured a job at a book depository with a single phone call. How did that happen? In the footage of the shooting scene, a girl wearing a scarf was seen taking photographs of the crime. Why has she not been found to this day, and what was her connection to all of this? 60 years ago, on November 22, 1963, American President John F. Kennedy was killed in an attack on his motorcade. While President JFK's death plunged millions of Americans into grief, the investigation into this case has failed to answer many questions. It is believed that the top secret agencies of the U.S. have concealed a lot regarding the assassination and did not disclose the truth to the public. There are several reasons to believe this. The first concerns the choice of the venue where the president was supposed to go. President JFK was scheduled to give a political speech in Dallas, Texas, and there were two options: Trade Mart and the Women's Building. The White House recommended the Women's Building, but Texas Governor John Kenly wanted the president to go to the Trade Mart. The reason for this was that the Trade Mart was a banquet hall, whereas the interior of the Women's Building was not big enough for the president to go there. Finally, on 14th November, 8 days before the event, Trade Mart was selected as the venue, but this news was not made public. Now it was time to decide how to reach the Trade Mart from Love Field Airport, where the president's plane was to land. Normally, presidential motorcades follow routes with minimum interruptions or turns. There was one such route that could bypass the city and take the president to the Trade Mart from the outside. But it was not selected. Instead, they chose the route from inside the city that went past the school book depository where the shooter had attacked the president. If you're thinking that this route was specifically planned to attack the president, then you are wrong. This was done on the president's own request because he wanted to pass through the crowd of people. But if it is assumed that the Women's Building was selected instead of the Trade Mart venue, then the president's motorcade would have gone towards the east via this main road. This would have increased the distance between the book depository and also made it difficult for the shooter to take aim. Because the president's wife, First Lady Jacqueline, who always sat on his left side, and would have come between the shooter and the president. Now in the planning of the assassination, it was very important to select the location of the Trade Mart. And as you know, this selection was made by Texas Governor John Kenly. His intentions cannot be doubted because when the president was attacked, he himself was sitting in the presidential limousine with his wife. He was also shot, but his life was saved. And secondly, Governor John Kenly was already against this route. He wanted to reach the Trade Mart from outside the city, but there was someone who had calculated all these things long ago. The president's motorcade route and venue were announced just 4 days before the assassination. This means that this information was not known to anyone before that. But something happened in the school book depository 2 months ago, indicating that someone already had this information. Exactly 2 months ago, there was a sudden shortage of staff at the school book depository. In September 1963, a man named Wesley Frazier received a call from an employment agency offering him a job at the book depository. Wesley Frazier lived half an hour away in a town called Irving. He reached the book depository the very next day on September 13 and was immediately hired by the superintendent Roy Truly. After a month, on October 15, Wesley's neighbor also contacted the book depository superintendent by phone, and coincidentally, he was also hired the very next day. Wesley's neighbor was none other than Lee Oswald, who was to be arrested after 39 days in the case of the murder of President Kennedy. Because Lee Oswald did not have a driving license, he couldn't drive to work every day, so he rented a room in Dallas. On weekends after office hours, he would go with Wesley to his home in Irving and return to the book depository with Wesley on Monday mornings. This routine continued for about a month, but this routine was broken on 21 November, just a day before the president's assassination. On Thursday, November 21, Lee Oswald went with Wesley to his home in Irving because he said he would be in Dallas that weekend. The next morning on Friday, when Oswald came out of the house with Wesley to go to the office, he had a long paper bag in his hand. Oswald explained that it contained curtain rods that he intended to install in his room. Just half an hour before the assassination, Lee was with some colleagues on the 6th floor of the book depository. It was 12 o'clock in the day. During lunchtime, everyone went to the 1st floor for lunch, but Oswald stayed alone on the 6th floor. A large crowd had gathered outside the depository to see the president's motorcade. Some depository employees were also watching from the windows on the 5th floor. Exactly at 12:30, the president's motorcade arrived. The president sat on the right side of the vehicle, and the First Lady sat on his left. The governor and his wife were also present in the front seat. As the presidential limousine took a left turn from the book depository, the entire area echoed with the sound of the first shot.
It appears as though something has happened in the motorcade route. Something, I repeat, has happened in the motorcade route.
Coincidentally, at that moment, a reporter was recording the scene with his camera. Some people said 2 shots were fired, but others heard 3. Unfortunately, one bullet hit the president's neck and another hit his head. The driver of the limousine quickly left the location without waiting, but President John F. Kennedy likely passed away at that very moment. Some described he was black, and some said white, but a police officer from the motorcade had seen a man firing on the 6th floor after the first shot. Without wasting any time, he entered the building, went up to the 6th floor, but found no one present there. Within a few minutes, the police and FBI sealed the entire building, preventing all the employees inside from leaving. But among all these employees, one person was missing, and that was none other than Lee Oswald. Oswald likely left the book depository immediately after the incident. He went to his room, changed his clothes, and quickly emerged with his pistol. The police, who were already searching for him, had expanded their patrols throughout the entire city and communicated via wireless. Sometime later, an officer on patrol spotted Oswald, but before he could do anything, Oswald fired 4 shots at the police officer, killing him on the spot. Oswald had now gone and hidden in the nearest movie theater. But after some time, the police found him and arrested him and took him to the police headquarters. For the next 2 days, the police, FBI, and CIA interrogated him extensively, but their interrogation was not recorded. No one has any evidence of what happened behind closed doors. On November 24, when he was being transferred from the police headquarters to jail, a person shot him in front of the media and police. Lee Oswald also died in the same hospital where John F. Kennedy was taken. This was the story that was officially disclosed, but many witnesses said that this was not the same person they saw at the 6th floor window. Before being shot, Lee Oswald kept saying in front of the media that he was innocent. He did not do anything.
You shoot the president? I didn't shoot anybody, no, sir.
Yeah. Did you kill the president?
No, I've not been charged with that. In fact, nobody has said that to me yet.
The first thing I heard about it was when the newspaper reporters in the hall asked me that question.
If we analyze the entire story, then according to the police, Lee Oswald got a job in the book depository with great cleverness and planning, and single-handedly did all this planning while hiding from the intelligence of the FBI, CIA, and police. But people say that if Mastermind Oswald had done such perfect planning alone, then how did he make so many mistakes in the end? Like running away from a building, killing a police officer, and creating suspicion on yourself. And most surprisingly, hiding in a movie theater in front of hundreds of people. After the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, many investigation reports were published, but each report only added to the confusion. After Oswald's death, a theory emerged that he might have been killed by the same people who had planned the entire event. This theory suggests that even if it was a conspiracy, it was still not possible to do this work without insiders. Many people believe that the FBI and CIA were also involved in this conspiracy because Lee Oswald was a former U.S. Marine and was already under FBI surveillance. Despite this, he managed to hide his background from the president's Secret Service when they were planning the motorcade route. Many pieces of evidence were also destroyed during the investigation. For example, 3 bullet shells found on the 6th floor were initially removed without being photographed, and later, photographs were taken with the bullets placed back in place. The police had initially recorded videos of the location from where the firing took place, but those also disappeared. But evidence of the shooter was definitely recorded, so that this mystery would never have remained a mystery. During the shooting, a girl wearing a scarf was visible in almost all the photos and videos. She held a camera in her hand and had captured all the photos of the president's portrait. The scarf she is wearing is called Babushka, and hence she was named Babushka Lady. Many people have the theory that Babushka Lady was also a part of this entire plan, whose job was to record this scene. But till today, FBI has never been able to find this girl. So guys, we hope that you will like and share this video and subscribe to this channel as well. Thank you very much for your loving comments. See you in the next great video.